if you look at what countries are growing the fastest in the world, China's economy is the fastest growing economy. And those of its Asian partners are also growing fast. The Western economies are shrinking. The US economy as a whole is deindustrializing. The Eurozone is deindustrializing and gone into a chronic depression now as a result of its sanctions the United States has forced against buying Russian energy, Russian gas and oil, and other imports from Russia, even fertilizers. So you're having a shrinking economy in the Western economies and a growing economy and a growing market in China and Asia. So it's obvious that any country that's looking for where is their market for trade and investment going to rise, it's with countries whose economies are growing, not countries whose economies are shrinking. The United States is telling Europe, in order for Donald Trump not to impose heavy tariffs on you, that's going to bankrupt your automobile industry, your computer industry, that's going to create economic dependency on Europe, you're going to have to stop your commerce with China and impose sanctions and blocking on your trade with China, just like we've imposed tariffs and sanctions against your trade with Russia for energy. Just as you've sort of cut your throat economically by the sanctions on Russia, we want you to sacrifice the growth that you had hoped to do by trade and investment with China. Well, how do you think the European population, forget European leaders, the European leaders are pro-American, and they'll say, we're willing to sacrifice our economy because our loyalty is to the United States. It's the US State Department that determines if we're going to be promoted or not. But the European voters and the European industry and the European agriculture and European investors generally saying, well, we would like to make our trade and investment with markets that are growing, and they're blocked from doing that by US policy. So what you're going to be seeing in the next few years is a crisis in US and European diplomacy, as at some point Europe is going to have to put its economic interests first. That's the materialist approach to history. Who are you going to put first? The American obsession with war against China and Russia, or with the interest of domestic European, you could say Japanese and Korean industry in trading with rapidly growing market in the world. Obviously, the economic tendency is to say, well, China's doing exactly the form of development that Western Europe and the United States did in its industrial takeoff. We want to be part of this new industrial takeoff instead of the deindustrialization that we're seeing in Europe and the United States.